We can't possibly help with Sofia's treatment. We're saving for Brittany's wedding. My mother-in-law Cordelia's words hit me like a physical blow as I stood in her marble foyer, holding my 4-year-old daughter's medical bills. My name is Anastasia. I'm 34 and a single mother after my husband died in a construction accident 2 years ago. I work as a freelance graphic designer, the kind of flexible job that lets me take Sofia to her endless medical appointments while barely keeping us afloat financially. Nothing glamorous, nothing that impresses the wealthy side of my late husband's family, but it's honest work that puts food on our table. Sofia was diagnosed with a rare kidney condition 6 months ago. The treatments aren't covered by insurance, and the specialist visits alone cost $3,000 per month. Without treatment, she'll need a transplant by age 7. With treatment, she has a 90% chance of living a completely normal life. I'd swallowed my pride and come to Cordelia and her husband Reginald because they were Sofia's only living grandparents with means. They owned 3 luxury car dealerships across the state and lived in a $2.8 million estate with more bedrooms than they could possibly use. Brittany's wedding is costing us $250,000, Cordelia continued, adjusting her tennis bracelet. We simply cannot take on additional expenses right now. Brittany was their 26-year-old daughter from Reginald's first marriage. She'd never worked a day in her life, lived in their guest house rent-free, and was planning what she called the wedding of the century to her equally spoiled fiancé Trevor. "This is your granddaughter's life," I said quietly, holding Sofia's hand tighter. "She needs this treatment." "I understand you're upset, dear," Cordelia said in that condescending tone wealthy people use when they want to sound sympathetic while doing nothing. "But Brittany has been planning this wedding for 2 years. We've already put deposits down on everything. The Ritz-Carlton ballroom, the designer dress, the 12-piece orchestra, the imported flowers from Ecuador. We simply cannot disappoint her now." Hey everyone watching from around the world, if this story of family betrayal and ultimate justice resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more daily stories where the underestimated get their revenge. Let me know in the comments what country you're watching from and if you've ever dealt with selfish family members. Sofia tugged on my coat. "Mama, my tummy hurts again." I knelt down and kissed her forehead. She'd been so brave through all of this, never complaining even when the treatments made her sick. "We'll go home and get your medicine, baby." "Actually," Cordelia added as we turned to leave, "we'd appreciate it if you didn't mention this conversation to anyone. Reginald is very private about our financial matters." I stared at her. She was more concerned about her reputation than her granddaughter's life. That night, after Sofia fell asleep, I sat at my computer and made a decision that would change everything. I opened my laptop and started typing. You see, what Cordelia didn't know was that my little graphic design business wasn't just making flyers for local businesses. I specialized in social media marketing and viral content creation. I'd built campaigns that reached millions of people and generated hundreds of thousands in revenue for my clients. I'd just never used those skills for anything personal before. I started with research. Public records showed that Reginald and Cordelia's dealerships had received $890,000 in pandemic relief loans that were later forgiven. Tax records showed they'd claimed a $47,000 deduction for charitable giving last year. Their social media was full of posts about family values and community responsibility. Perfect. I created a simple website, Sofia's Story. One page with her photo, her diagnosis, her treatment plan, and a straightforward account of our family situation. No mention of the wedding, no names of relatives. Just facts. Then I got to work. I designed a campaign that would make any marketing executive proud. Target demographics, optimal posting times, hashtag strategies, influencer outreach. Everything I'd learned about viral content creation over the past decade. The post went live on a Tuesday morning. "This is my 4-year-old daughter Sofia. She needs treatment for a rare kidney condition that insurance won't cover. Her wealthy grandparents refuse to help because they're spending $250,000 on their daughter's wedding instead. Please share her story." I included photos of Sofia's medical bills, screenshots of our insurance denials, and receipts showing the grandparents' dealership donations to charity, proving they had the money to help but chose not to. Within 6 hours, the post had 50,000 shares. By Thursday, it had reached 2.3 million people. Friday morning brought the first news interview request. But the real breakthrough came when a prominent pediatric advocacy group shared the story with their 800,000 followers, along with a simple message: this child's grandparents can afford $250,000 for a wedding but won't pay for their granddaughter's life-saving treatment. This is everything wrong with our healthcare system. That's when the local news picked it up. Saturday evening, I was making Sofia dinner when my phone rang. Cordelia's number. "What have you done?" Her voice was shaking with rage. I shared Sofia's story. "You said I couldn't mention our private conversation, so I didn't." I never used your names or mentioned the wedding specifically. People are calling our dealerships. They're leaving horrible reviews online. Someone threw eggs at our house. I felt a cold satisfaction. That's unfortunate. You have to take it down. This is destroying our reputation. Your reputation was built on appearing to be good people. I just let everyone see who you really are. This is extortion. This is transparency. You made a choice to prioritize a party over your granddaughter's health. I just made sure people knew about it." The line went quiet. When she spoke again, her voice was different. Smaller. "What do you want?" "I want Sofia's treatment covered. All of it. Monthly appointments, medications, everything her doctors recommend." "And if we do that, you'll take the story down?" "I'll post an update thanking the anonymous family members who decided to help." "How do I know you won't do this again?" I looked at Sofia coloring at the kitchen table, completely unaware that her future was being negotiated over the phone. "Because I won't need to. Once she's healthy, we won't need anything from you ever again." By Sunday morning, the story had been featured on 3 national news programs. A GoFundMe that someone else had set up reached $127,000. The comments section was brutal. "Imagine choosing a party over your grandchild's life. This family is disgusting. What kind of people are they? Someone should find out who these grandparents are and shame them publicly." Monday brought a certified check for $50,000 and a letter from Cordelia's attorney stating they would cover all of Sofia's medical expenses going forward. Tuesday brought something even better: Sofia's first treatment appointment, fully paid for. But the story didn't end there. 3 weeks later, I got a call from a producer at a major television network. They wanted to do a segment on healthcare inequality using Sofia's story as a case study. The segment would air during prime time and reach an estimated 12 million viewers. I agreed, with one condition: Sofia's face would be blurred and her name changed to protect her privacy. The segment aired on a Thursday night. By Friday morning, it had been shared across every major social media platform. Saturday, Cordelia called again. "The segment is running again this weekend. People have figured out who we are. They're protesting outside our dealerships. Our sales are down 60%. You have to help us." "Help you how?" "Tell them we're good people. Tell them we've changed." I was quiet for a moment, thinking about all the times I'd asked for help before Sofia got sick. All the family events where they'd flaunted their wealth while knowing we were struggling. All the subtle comments about how I should find a man with money instead of trying to raise Sofia alone. "Cordelia, I can't tell people you're good people. I can only tell them what you do. And what you did was choose a party over your granddaughter's life." "What about Brittany's wedding?" "It's in 6 weeks. She's devastated. She's talking about canceling everything." "That's between you and Brittany. Please, Anastasia. We're family. Family doesn't let family suffer while they spend $250,000 on parties." The protests continued for 3 weeks. Sales at their dealerships dropped by 70%. 2 of their major suppliers canceled contracts, citing reputational concerns. Brittany's wedding was moved to their backyard and scaled down to immediate family only. The $250,000 budget became a $15,000 affair. But here's the interesting part: Sofia's treatment was working. Her kidney function improved dramatically. Her energy returned. She started playing like a normal 4-year-old again. And the GoFundMe that strangers had started for her medical expenses? It reached $340,000. More than enough to cover her treatment for the next decade. 4 months after my first post, I got another call from Cordelia. "We want to see Sofia. It's been too long. Sofia asks about you sometimes. She wonders why Grandma and Grandpa stopped visiting. We can explain. We can make this right." "Can you?" "Because she's 4 years old, Cordelia. She doesn't understand why you disappeared when she got sick. She doesn't know about the money or the wedding or the choices you made. She just knows that when she needed you most, you weren't there. We're there now." "No, you're not. You're trying to manage your reputation now that everyone knows what kind of people you are. That's not fair." I looked out my window at Sofia playing in our small backyard, healthy and happy and completely unaware of the storm that had raged around her medical treatment. "You know what's not fair, Cordelia? A 4-year-old getting sick while her grandparents plan parties. You know what's not fair? Having to beg family for help while they spend more on flowers than most people make in a year. We made a mistake. You made a choice. And choices have consequences." The consequences continued for months. The dealership business never fully recovered. They eventually had to sell one location to stay afloat. Reginald developed stress-related health problems. Cordelia started seeing a therapist. Brittany, interestingly, seemed to be the only one who learned anything from the experience. She started working for the first time in her life, took a job at a nonprofit that helps families navigate medical bankruptcies. She called me once to apologize for not speaking up when she learned about Sofia's situation. "I was so focused on my wedding, I didn't think about anything else," she admitted. "That's not an excuse, but it's the truth. I'm sorry." I appreciated her honesty. We started talking occasionally. She even sent Sofia a birthday present. But I never took down the original post. 6 months after Sofia's diagnosis, I got a message that made everything worthwhile. It was from a mother in Oregon whose son had the same rare kidney condition as Sofia. "I saw your daughter's story and it gave me courage to share my son's situation. My family stepped up and helped, and he's getting treatment now. Thank you for being brave enough to tell the truth." That message was followed by dozens more. Parents who'd been inspired to advocate for their children. Families who'd found resources they didn't know existed. Grandparents who'd seen the story and decided to help their own grandchildren instead of ignoring their needs. Sofia's story had become bigger than just Sofia. A year later, I was invited to speak at a conference about healthcare advocacy. The title of my talk was "When Family Fails, Finding Your Voice in Crisis." I talked about the difference between charity and family obligation. About how sometimes the people who are supposed to love us unconditionally are the ones who attach the most conditions to their love. And I talked about the power of truth. How sometimes the only weapon you have against selfishness is transparency. After the talk, a woman approached me. She was probably in her 60s, well-dressed, reminded me a bit of Cordelia. "I have a grandson with autism," she said quietly. "His parents can't afford the therapy he needs. I've been spending money on renovating my kitchen instead of helping them." She paused, looking uncomfortable. "Your story made me realize what kind of grandmother I'm being. I'm calling my son tonight." I handed her my card. "If you need help figuring out how to approach it, call me." She smiled. "I think I know what to do now." As I drove home that night, I thought about the ripple effects of that one decision to share Sofia's story. How many children were getting help because their families had seen what happened to mine? How many grandparents had realized that their priorities were wrong? Sofia is 7 now. Her kidney function is normal. She plays soccer and takes piano lessons and has no memory of being sick. She thinks her medical story helped other children, which is true, but she doesn't understand the larger battle that was fought over her treatment. Sometimes she asks about her other grandparents. I tell her they live far away now, which is true. They moved to Arizona after selling their remaining dealerships. Cordelia sends a Christmas card each year with a generic message and a check for Sofia's college fund. I deposit the checks but I don't reply to the cards. Last month, Sofia asked me why some grandparents love their grandchildren more than others. It was a harder question than explaining her kidney condition. Some people, I told her, think love means saying nice things and buying presents. But real love means making sacrifices for the people you care about. It means choosing them over parties and fancy things. Like when you sold your car to pay for my medicine? I'd forgotten she remembered that. Yes, baby. Like that. Are you glad you sold your car? I'd sell 100 cars if it meant keeping you healthy. She hugged me tight. I love you, Mama. I love you too, Sofia. Always. Later that evening, I got a message from another parent whose child needed help. I spent an hour on the phone walking them through the steps of creating their own advocacy campaign. Because here's what I learned from all of this: sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you won't. Sometimes the people who claim to love you will choose their comfort over your crisis. But there are always other people watching. People who will step up when family steps back. People who understand that children are more important than parties, that health is more valuable than reputation, that love is measured in actions, not words. Cordelia taught me that family isn't about blood or marriage certificates. It's about who shows up when you need them most. Sofia's real family turned out to be thousands of strangers who cared more about her well-being than her own grandparents did. And that's a lesson worth sharing.